Aries, the pressure has been on you all of 2024 and even half of 2023, and it has been a lot. But now that pressure is relieved because the North Node is leaving your sign and entering Pisces. So in this video, I want to break down everything that you need to know about wrapping up this North Node in Aries transit and what lies ahead for you in 2025. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabel and today we are talking about Aries 2025 horoscope, given the fact that the North Node is leaving your sign. Aries, it has been a hard year and a half with the North Node being in your sign. It simply means that you, of all Zodiac signs, were being pushed to grow the most. Grow out of your comfort zone, grow out of your comfortable way of being, and growing through your relationship with yourself and your relationship with others. As a fellow Aries sun, I know it has been intense. I ended one-year relationships, had complete life crises, completely changed my personality in many ways. It's been a lot. And now the North Node leaves your sign. English, it leaves your sign and enters Pisces on January 11th of 2025. So I wanted to recap what has happened for you in the last year and a half, what to expect in 2025, because not only is the North Node leaving your sign, but we also have two major planets entering your sign. So in short, this is your complete Aries 2025 prediction and horoscope. So first and foremost, let's recap what it meant for you that the North Node was in your sign. In July of 2023, the North Node entered Aries, and what that meant is that you were in the spotlight since then. You were being forced to grow the most because the North Node, while in our natal chart is our highest path to growth, wherever it currently transits is the next natural step towards our growth. And so when it entered your sign, our sign, fellow Aries, it highlighted us to grow. It highlighted us to grow into our sense of self-sufficiency, independence, sense of self, free from what our relationship is to other people. With the North Node being in our sign, in our first house, it was also means that the South Node was in Libra, our opposite sign, in our 7th house. And so wherever the South Node currently transits is where we are doing the most healing and cleansing, which naturally kind of means letting things go. And so with it being in our 7th house, over the last year and a half, we've been having to do a lot of work in relationship to our relationships, healing our relationships, and frankly, letting relationships go. In the end, it was all about removing outdated models of interacting with others. We probably felt like people were falling away. There was a lot of stress in relationships, in one-on-one partnerships, and romantic relationships. If you were in a relationship, it's possible that you had, like me, a relationship end. If you were not in a relationship at any point, you were probably seriously questioning what you wanted from a relationship in the first place. Friendships could have been challenged. You probably felt this sense just generally overall over the last year and a half that you were alone because the North Node asked you to grow into a higher level of your sense of self and let go of anything that no longer served you in your one-on-one relationships so that you can have better boundaries and better relationships in alignment with your sense of self. I am curious to hear from you guys. What was it like for you? What did you learn? What happened for you? And how did you grow with the North Node being in your sign over the last year and a half? But now the North Node enters Pisces, which for you, Aries, is going to be your or our 12th house. So now over the next year and a half until I believe July of 2026, we are going to be doing more work with our unconscious mind, which could mean more alone time, but really what it means is that we are releasing unconscious fears. That is the major theme for us, the next step in our journey. Now that we've developed a sense of self and sense of independence in alignment with who we want to be, our authentic self and our most bold sense of self, now we're doing deeper work with our unconscious wounds and our unconscious fears, things that may be holding us back. So really the main theme here for your 2025 is going to be revolving around this transit. However, we do also have two other major planets coming into play that make this dynamic interesting with the new North Node transit for you. Not only are you going to be focusing on your unconscious mind, healing unconscious fears, meditating more, going to therapy, but we also have Neptune and Saturn entering Aries and going retrograde in Aries and back into Pisces. Neptune is the planet of idealism and disillusionment. And I really want to touch on this one first because really this creates an interesting dynamic with the North Node having been in our sign. We were focused on growing into our sense of self, and now we've established that. But now that we've grown into this sense of self and identity and independence and established it, we may also be experiencing some idealism in how we think the collective should be embracing this, or maybe even idealism about how we should be embracing this. And when Neptune goes retrograde, we may feel this sense of confusion about our sense of self once again. However, with that being said, it could be that who we are acting as is not who we're saying we want to be. And so for us, Aries, there are themes that could come up around reflecting on our idealism, around our sense of self later in the year. And this could be as a result of, as we're developing our relationship with our unconscious, as we are working through our unconscious fears, our past wounds, our traumas, our childhood programming, we may be discovering, in a sense, that there are parts of ourselves that need to be let go of, that were built upon these unconscious wounds that we had. And Neptune can be somewhat helpful with that, in the sense that it gives us the space we need to just contemplate what it is our sense of self is built upon and what we ideally want to be. Saturn is also going to enter Aries in 2025, and this could mean we're adding a level of responsibility to who we show up as. So this creates, again, an interesting dynamic, because we developed our sense of self in the last year and a half. We became more independent. But now with Neptune and Saturn being here, we may be feeling a bit of idealism and personal responsibility for who we show up as. In a sense, it's like we are setting our sense of self-identity into stone. But in the process, we may get a bit idealistic about it, or have less clear idea of what our sense of self truly is, and instead allowing ourselves to just be our sense of self rather than think about our sense of self. So when Saturn enters Aries and then later goes retrograde, we could be adding levels of responsibility to our independence, being more responsible for our alone time, being more mature about our sense of self, and possibly even having to reflect on what personal responsibility we take for how we show up. There's a lot of reflecting going on, and a lot of observation and recognizing that we have to be aware of how we present ourselves to other people. And it's not to say we're going to be self-conscious, but there is going to be a focus on refining our sense of self further into a more idealistic and responsible version of ourselves through our life experience. With the North Node leaving our sign, entering our 12th house, and Saturn and Neptune entering your sign, these are the three major themes for Aries in 2025. Overall, the pressure is released. If you've been feeling like you've been boiling over, overstressed, just burnt out on always being forced to grow, now you just get to settle and relax. The stars are taking the pressure off you. However, you will be refining and working on your sense of self in the upcoming year. But not only are we focusing on our sense of self, we do have a few other transits, major transits, that will be affecting you, Aries, specifically in your home and family. And that's what I want to talk about next, because we will have in January through February, Mars go retrograde in Cancer, and then we will have Jupiter enter Cancer in July or maybe June. I can't remember off the top of my head. I will put over the screen what the date is exactly for that. But with Mars going retrograde in Cancer in your 4th house, this means that you are changing and reflecting on your home and family life. What does that mean? It could mean, in one interpretation, changing the place you live. It could also mean changing the way you act with family. You're reflecting on how you take action in your family life and your home life. And so this could be a mirror into your deeper levels of your unconscious, because Pisces and Cancer are both water signs. And with the North Node being in Pisces, in the end, everything that happens in this year revolves around you deepening your relationship with your beliefs, deepening your connection and understanding of your unconscious fears. So when Mars goes retrograde in Cancer in your 4th house, there may be things happening in your home life, in your family life, with your parents or with your siblings or with where you live, that give you insight into what you truly want to do with your home and family. And as a result, this can help you with uncovering unconscious wounds. Also, though, in summer of 2025, you're going to have Jupiter enter Cancer. So Mars retrograde will happen in Cancer about January through February 23rd, I believe. And then when Jupiter enters Cancer in the summer, you can experience an expansion. So it might feel slow, the work that you're doing with your family, with your home life in the winter of 2025. Did I say 2024 earlier? I kind of think I did. But in 2025, when we have Mars retrograde in Cancer, you're doing reflecting and pausing with your family. But when we enter summer of 2025, you're going to be experiencing expansion in your home and family life. What does this mean? Expanding where you live, getting into a bigger home. It could mean expanding your connection with your family, expanding your growth through your family. There's something happening here that's going to bring you abundance. You could be making more money or manifesting through family more. If there's been things that you've been waiting on with your family or the place you live, then in the summer of 2025 will be the time to experience that. That is a transit that happens in both winter and summer of 2025. But in between there, in the spring, Aries, you're going to have another transit that is going to be more on reflecting on your sense of self-identity, which is going to be Venus going retrograde in your sign, along with into the sign of Pisces. So it is possible that when the North Node enters Pisces in January, you're going to start to get a taste of what this growth is about growing and doing work with your unconscious mind. And when Venus goes retrograde in Aries in the spring and into Pisces, you're going to be reflecting on your sense of self-identity, the value that your sense of self-identity brings, any sort of beliefs around scarcity that affect your sense of self-identity that later transform into recognition of what unconscious fears hold you back. You're reflecting on values and beliefs that shape who you are and values and fears that shape who you are during this time. In the end, though, because this is such a rare occurrence, this is going to be a deep cleansing for you. This is to bring you more wealth. When Venus stations direct again and transits over your sign, you're going to have a huge up-leveling in your wealth, in your values. You're going to be extra attractive, so to say. You're going to be extra energetically attractive, and maybe physically, but overall stepping into alignment with your values. There are many other transits happening in 2025 that are going to be affecting Aries, but those are some of the major ones. Aries, there's a lot to look forward to in the upcoming year. Lots of reflection and refinement of your sense of self to step into higher levels of self. A lot of expansion with your family and a lot of deep inner healing work. So if you feel like there's been some unknown blockage that has been holding you back, this will be the time to release them. And as a result of releasing your unconscious beliefs, more manifestation, more rapid manifestation, more abundance available to you. So let me know, Aries, are you ready for this year ahead? Are you ready for 2025? Let me know in the comments below. What are you feeling? How has this transit been for you with the North Node in Aries the last year and a half? What have you learned? How have you grown? What are you ready for? What are you trying to manifest? And if you want to learn more about what is lying ahead for you in 2025, book a reading down below where in 1 hour we can dive deep into any and everything about your chart and personality type combination. Be sure to check out my other links down in the description below for my other offerings, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos breaking down the stars and more. What do you guys want to hear about next on the channel? I would love to hear your thoughts, would love to hear your feedback, and I do read the comments. There are some videos of the comments coming very soon, so turn on post notifications and stay tuned to know if I make a video about your comment. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, my name's Isabel, and from my heart to yours, namaste.